Welcome, I'm Jillian Kiefer, Pharmacy Technology Chair, Clinical Coordinator, and Assistant Professor. In this video, you will learn how to prepare pharmaceutical creams, ointments, gels, and paste. Many times, topical preparations are readily available as pre-made. However, there are times when we are required to compound non-sterile topical products based on a specific prescription or medication order. A compound is made up of a base ingredient and an active ingredient. The base ingredient is an inert delivery vehicle such as a cream, ointment, gel, or paste. The active ingredient is the medication that is added to the base that usually comes in a form of a powder, tablet, or capsule. There are times it could be another topical product as well. The original form of the active ingredient needs to be reduced to a fine powder using a mortar and pestle before being weighed according to the compounding recipe. Using the compounding method called spatulation refers to slowly incorporating the weighed powder into the base to ensure the final product is prepared in a uniform method. When starting the compounding process, begin with the base and active ingredient. For our active ingredient, we will use tablets. For the base, we will be using an ointment. First, you will need to wash your hands thoroughly and put gloves on. Then count out the number of tablets that are needed based on the compounding recipe provided to you. Your recipe should account for powder that may be lost during the grinding process. Place these tablets in a mortar and pestle to grind them down to a fine powder, approximately the consistency of flour. When the powder is the desired consistency, weigh out the correct amount of powder needed for the recipe. Place your empty weigh boat on the scale and zero it out. After the powder is weighed, weigh the base amount based on the recipe. Again, make sure you place the empty weigh boat on the scale and zero it out. As a technician, you will need to have your pharmacist on site verify the weighed amounts of your product. You will now use either compounding paper or a slab to prepare the compound. On the compound paper, use a spatula to carefully scrape the contents of the powder onto one of the top corners of the paper. Make sure you scrape out all remnants of the boat. In the other top corner, use another spatula, scrape the contents of the ointment boat, remembering to scrape out all remnants. To begin the mixing process, use the spatula used with the ointment, drag a small amount of powder to the center of the paper. You will use approximately 1/5 of the total amount. Using the same spatula, drag a small amount of the ointment to the center of the slab as well. This should amount for about 1/5 of the total amount. Mix the two ingredients together by putting the flat surface of the spatula against the flat surface of the slab. You should apply a downward force and move the spatula back and forth in a sideways S pattern or figure 8. Gradually mix the small amounts of the two ingredients together, continuing to apply downward pressure as the mixture takes on a smooth, uniform texture. Use the spatula to keep dragging more of each ingredient to the center and keep repeating this process until all ingredients are in the middle of the paper and the entire product is smooth and uniform. Once you have completed this compound, scrape everything into an ointment jar appropriate for the amount of ointment you made. Make sure your compounding recording sheet is filled out with all the appropriate information and you are ready to dispense this compound. It is also possible to use an electric mortar and pestle called an unguator to create a larger quantity of desired compound. You put the base and active ingredients in a special jar and the unguator works by speed and time to electronically blend your formulation. Now you understand the process for mixing pharmaceutical creams, ointments, gels, and paste. To learn more, look for our other videos on pharmaceutical processes and techniques.